Hey, friends. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I hope that you all have been well. I have missed seeing you. And I'm going to wait till people come on in the room a little bit more on this one because we have to talk. Yeah, we have to talk about whether or not you are going on dates. And if you are not going on dates, why not? We need to talk. Yeah, we absolutely, positively, beyond a shadow of a doubt, need to have a conversation about whether or not why you aren't going on any dates as a single person and what could be the problem. But are you open to that, though? That would be the question. Are you open to that? I see a couple of you are already on. I'm just welcoming my audience on TikTok now. So let's go ahead and get ready to go. Good morning. I'm Kisa. I'm Coach K. A little slow this morning, but I'm here. Good morning to the folks on TikTok as well. Good to see you today and good to see you here on Facebook this morning, right? I hope that you are off to a wonderful start as we get ready to go into the summer. It's June, it's hot, but we've made it. We're here. That's the most important thing, right? So, again, thank you for joining us. But let's have a real conversation this morning, friends. Why is it that you aren't going on more dates? Do you have a question? TikTok. Do you know? Now, TikTok is my gold star earner. They really participate. So don't let me down this morning, Facebook. Don't let me down. Because my folks on TikTok, they participate. But the question is this morning, and I don't ask it being insensitive to the environment that we're in. I ask it being very sensitive to the environment that we're in. The fact, because I'm out there with you, I'm dating with you. And I understand that it is a challenge. I understand that, the rules that we've had in the past, they no longer apply. Some do. Let me correct that. Some rules that we've had in the past do apply today. But what I find is that the same upbringing, I'm 54, so I'm that 70s, 80s, 90s baby growing up in that era. And what the rules were for us back in the day of, our mothers, we were just getting into the culture of women working and women not necessarily being tied to the household. So that changed some things. Okay? That changed some things. And what we're finding now is that our grandparents relied on our granddads, and they stayed in relationships even if those relationships were not unhealthy. Would you all agree with me on that? Just making sure you're awake this morning, making sure you're awake. Would you agree with that? Sometimes women stayed in relationships that were not healthy for them, and they stayed because it was financially feasible for them to stay. It made sense financially. It made sense for her to stay because if she left, that meant that her provision would be challenged. You understand? Her provision was tied to her husband. So it's different today. What has happened is a number of women are actually earning a wonderful living. Women are earning a wonderful living, and they are not as much dependent, okay, on a man. Now, you know what I mean, dependent financially. In other words, women are able to live and thrive on their own. Can you give me some love? I want to make sure that you can hear me this morning. Can you give me some love on TikTok? Can you give me some hearts? Can you give me some likes? Can you give me some hearts? Can you give me some likes? Can you let me know that you hear me on Facebook? Let's see. Oh, okay. I think I'm pretty good on Facebook for sure. TikTok, you hear me? You hear me pretty good, TikTok? So we are in a different age right now. And listen, I'm the change coach. I'm KeishaSharp.info. You can go, you can set up an appointment, talk to me. If you're just not handling this environment well, no judgment, no shame on that. Just contact me and we can sit down and we can talk, right? And if you need to know what I do, send me a message, TikTok. And if you need to know what I do, then let's set up a 15-minute discovery call so you'll know what I do. But I deal with change in every arena. Thank you. No problem. I appreciate you. But I deal with change in every arena and relationship. So let's go ahead and get into it today. And I'm going to really just set the stage before we really just kind of talk and dig in. We're going to dig in as we go on through the week. Okay. One of the things, and I'm in full transparency, one of the things that I'm working on is I'm working on making my calls hopefully a little bit shorter, you know, so that I can give you a little bit more information as opposed to staying on a little longer. Normally, I hang out a lot longer on TikTok. So if you want to follow me on TikTok after I conclude this call, Keisha Shea Sharp, Keisha Shea Sharp on TikTok, and I just kind of hang out. My folks on TikTok will just kind of hang out with me, right? We just hang out together. So, but anyway, getting to the heart of the matter, I want to be sensitive and I want you to understand that I am not being insensitive. I posed the question this morning, or I posed the question in promoting this: why aren't you going on more dates? And I'm asking the question. Why would you like to go on more dates? And some of you are going to catch the replay on this, okay? And in catching the replay, the question is, would you like to go on more dates? If you are honest, would you like to go on more dates? And so, and the question I'd have to ask you too is, why do you think, and this is all to just get to set the stage and get you to start thinking. The question too is, why do you think that you're not going on dates? And I'm going to just be honest with you. When I talk to some of my friends, what I find is some of them, from a female perspective, it becomes very apparent to me. I'm a coach. So there's certain things I've had to coach myself through. And when I go through different things, because I'm out here with you. I'm not talking to you as someone who's married. I'm not talking to you as someone who can't understand. I'm right here with you. I'm right here with you. So I'm not talking as someone who can't understand. I'm not talking as someone who doesn't know. I'm not talking as someone who doesn't feel you at all. That's not who I am. I'm talking this morning as someone who is right there with you. And I'm asking you a question. Maybe you don't want to answer. But what I find is that the answer is pretty doggone obvious why people aren't going on dates. It's pretty doggone obvious is what I find. Good morning, Kim. It's pretty obvious. Now, for some people, that doesn't matter. The rules are a little bit different. Rules are a little bit different. But there are some things that I'm going to share with you this week. I'm going to set the stage. And I'm going and I'm going to and maybe I even need to look at talking about quality dates, because it's one thing to go on a date, but it's another thing to go on a quality date. Wouldn't you agree? Why aren't you going on more quality dates? What and how do you define a quality date? But we all know what a quality date is. You both have engaging conversation. You're invited on a date. And from a male's perspective, and I tend to think normally I'm going to be talking to women. From a woman's perspective, if you're a traditional woman, you may very well want the gentleman to pay for the date. That date may involve food. It may or may not involve food. It may be an ice cream date. It may be a coffee date. But what defines a good date? And why are we not dating in abundance? Why are we not moving to the arena of marriage? And it goes right back. They go hand in hand. More people are finding that they don't find satisfaction in getting married. And then there's a whole crop of other people who, before we even get to the marriage, they don't want to date, or they just, or they're out dating multiple partners, right? So things have changed. And if you are a woman, I want to talk to you this week. I'm going to give you some general information. Listen, if you want to really talk, what I'm thinking about doing is opening up that doggone Zoom room on Friday after we conclude everything and we talk, and I do some laser group coaching absolutely free. And you can talk about your specific situation, because I understand when I come on here, y'all, I understand I talk in generalities. So when I say that why aren't you going on dates? I understand I'm talking to a sect of you who are going on dates. So I understand we speak in generalities on this platform. There are always exceptions. So please understand that. Please understand that. I'm speaking in generalities. Some of you may be going on a lot of dates, but the question I ask is if you're going on a lot of dates, are they quality dates? What's happening after those dates? Because sometimes, and I've been guilty of this, I can go on a quality date and this gentleman buys me whatever. This gentleman, we go out, we laugh, whatever, whatever. But as I get more information about this gentleman, and I'm setting the stage for what's to come. We're going to get into it. I'm giving you a little appetizer so you can come back tomorrow morning at 7. So you can come back the next morning at 7 o'clock and Friday. All this week, why aren't you going on more dates? Would you like to? Could you be self-sabotaging? Are you in your own way? I know that's tough. I know that's tough. But what is it? And if you're going on dates, and if you go on a date with a gentleman, is it a quality date? Or when you find out that this guy is not who I thought he was, are you wasting time with him? Do you continue to waste time with him? Yeah, I said waste time because once that clock, I am 54 years old, and if I've discovered anything, time is not waiting on anyone. Not only has the dating landscape changed, ladies and gentlemen, but life has changed as we know it. You don't have to work harder to date. You need to date smarter. You don't have to work harder to date. You need to date smarter. Yeah, I do go out on dates, but are they quality dates? And if you go out on a date, and I'm going to tell you sometimes what happens. That we go out, this person is able to fund our date. We go out, we have a great time and all that kind of stuff. It fills that temporary need of, okay, I want to go out, or I hadn't been out in a while. But this person's kind of got some crazy going on. They're socially inept. They're emotionally immature. That they are displaying some signs of, how can I say it, immaturity. But hey, it's a date. I spend all this time, so you spend all this time with a guy. And listen, I'm balanced. I don't want you to think that I'm just saying you chop everybody off at the foot, but I do believe that the more mature we become, time becomes one of our most valuable assets. I'm 54, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the weeds with you trying to figure out what you're doing, what you're talking about, what do you mean? I'm going to give you grace. But I want you to look at something. I want to show you something because there's a balance to this, right? There are levels to this. There's some guys who you go out on a guy. Excuse me, let me give you this scenario. You go out with a guy and you have an okay time. I mean, generally you have an okay time. But at the end of that date, he says or does something that you're just like, man, can you believe he did this? How many of you have ever been here? Can you believe he did this? True story. I've been there. Okay. This is coming from my list, and I know you've gone through it too. But you just say to yourself, man, I can't believe that he did this. I can't believe that he did that. And at that point, you have to make a decision. Okay, do I go out on a second date with this guy? Or maybe it's after the second date. He says or does something that's strange, ladies. And you have to make a decision. Do I give him another chance? And maybe guys too. I've got some guys I know who are joining me on TikTok. Maybe you have to make the decision too. Do I give her another chance? Or do I just go ahead and cut this off? I want you to listen to one of these dating experts that I listened to. I thought they mentioned a good point, and they were talking about this careful dance that we have to do in dating. I want you to listen. I am going to play this. Let me see if I can play it. I can hit it here. I want you to listen to what they say because inevitably, some guys and some ladies, you give a second chance. Let me say it again. Some guys and some ladies, you give a second chance or maybe a third chance. But the careful dance is there's some people you don't keep giving them chance after chance after chance to disappoint you. There's some people you don't. So you've got to understand that careful dance and you've got to make discernment your friend. Listen into a little bit of this conversation.
Because you said why I should give him a second chance. And you're like, yes. And you're sitting here listening to this, just dying for us to give you the ammunition you need to give some guy who doesn't deserve a second chance, a fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth chance. And you're like, Gary and Adam are about to tell me some things that I can use. Be like, they said it was okay. No, we did not say that. Stop lying to yourself. That guy does not deserve the sixth, seventh, or eighth chance. There's a reason why you've gotten that far.
Chances are right now, the guys that you want to give a second chance to, you're drawn to, are not going to be the guys that actually meet these criteria. Chances are it's going to be the guys that you don't want to give the second chance to are going to be these criteria. So don't get too excited here. We're probably going to lose a lot of listeners right now. And they're like, what the hell, man? I thought that guy who's separated for 3 months from his wife he's been married to for 20 years, I could give him a second chance. It's like, nah, that's not happening today. It's going to be the more boring guys. Sorry. It's a little teaser.
So we shouldn't give second, fourth, fifth chances to the guy who works on an oil rig who will be back in town in 5 months?
No, we shouldn't. Okay. Nothing against oil riggers. We need them. We still need them until we're fully on renewables. We're not there yet. So, but no, we're not going to be giving him a second chance. If he's still married, still lives with his wife. I've been hearing that one a lot. That's been coming up a lot lately on masterminds where these guys they say that they are divorced or they give the appearance and then like by the second date, like, oh, just so you know, I'm still living with my ex-wife and we're just separated. It's like, what?
All right. That's enough of that right there. So what was the moral of the story? What was the purpose of me sharing that? Basically to say that you are going to, and by the way, let me go ahead and give you this tip. You're going to have to check some of these gentlemen out to make sure that they're not married. You're going to have to check some of these gentlemen out to make sure that they are not married. Does that make sense? Has anyone out there ever dealt with a guy? I sure have on more than one occasion, not dealt with them, but met a gentleman, or is it just me? Am I out here by myself? But who said he was single, who said he was, or either he was in the middle of a divorce or a terrible marriage, or he was going to get a divorce. Am I out here by myself? Okay, TikTok is awake this morning. Mwah, mwah, mwah. TikTok. TikTok is lighting up the board. Come on, Facebook. Come on, friends. On Facebook. TikTok is lighting up the board. Like I said, maybe I'm out here by myself, but man, I met gentlemen who have said, man, I'm not married, man. We're just living in the same house together. Or, it's complicated. We're going through a divorce. We're going through a divorce and we're not really together. We're on our way to, we're on our way to get a divorce, but, we're just still living in the same house to kind of make everything work out, and then I can get to see my children and things like that. He's still married, sis. He's still married, sis. And at any point, as long as they are in covenant together, that situation can be amended. He can go back to his wife. I know that's hard. I know it's hard when you say the dating pool is a mess out there, and you all actually use more colorful words to describe the dating. You actually use more colorful words to describe the dating pool, and I'm out there. I see exactly what you're talking about. Anybody out there that would say that the dating pool is full of horse manure? Anybody would say that the dating pool appears at sometimes, we'll say it appears to be, because I still believe, I still believe. Anybody out there would say other than me that it could appear like it is just full of manure? Anybody other than just me? Well, I'm honest. I'm gonna just tell you. I can understand why people say that. I can understand. I've gone on dates where gentlemen are alpha male, and I don't even know if you call this alpha male, but just that there are things that it's very apparent that you I hear you on there 100 100 100. Thank you. I hear you on the TikTok, but it they are so I would almost call it what could appear to be something very toxic. I took the privilege of ordering for you. I took the privilege of going ahead and praying for you. Well, that's a little different. If we were sitting down together, and this is a true story, this is a true story. So, where I sat down and a gentleman said, well, I'm going to take the liberty to go ahead and order and pray for you. So I'm going to pray for my meal. Oh, no, I've already taken care of that. I already prayed over the food. You prayed over your meal. Now, that's different if we're sitting down together, in my opinion. But the fact that I want to pray over this person that just gives me the food, and you say, well, no, I've already prayed over that. So, and I handled it as such a Southern lady, as such a lady. I basically said, okay. I said, well, let me just add some agreement. Always a lady, even in the midst of someone who may not be. Now, I haven't gone out again with that gentleman. It was the first date, and that probably was going to be the only date. Maybe. But if you keep on displaying that sort of that take charge, and I don't want you to do, you're not going to do anything. I'm going to be the person who takes charge of everything. I mean, come on, 54, and he's older than me, 54. I mean, come on. I've been praying for my meals this long. I mean, that's nothing to fall out over. That's nothing to try to exert authority over, right? But this is what I said. Ever the lady. I said, oh, I appreciate you praying over that meal for me. I said, I appreciate you praying for that meal and praying over that meal for me. Let me just go ahead and add my agreement. Let me go ahead and add my agreement to what you prayed. So I thank you, but let me just go ahead and get an agreement with you. Do you mind that? And I'm gonna add a prayer. So what was I saying by doing that? Did you catch that? What I did? Oh, thank you so much for praying for me. So I thanked him for praying. I didn't try to berate him. What do you mean? You prayed for me. I don't need you praying. Oh, oh no. What do you mean? That's not the move, ladies. That's not the move. No, I didn't say you. I didn't even say no. I said thank you. Thank you for praying for me. But I'm going to not. But I'm going to just add my agreement to what you prayed, if that's okay. And I didn't have to say if that's okay, but ever the lady, ever the lady. So this week, let's talk about it. I can give you 10 tips, but I wanted to set the stage and just say, be open, ladies. Be open. Because could it be that there's some things that you're doing or not doing that's hindering you in that dating arena? I'm likely not going to tell you anything that you do not know. I'm likely not going to tell you anything that you don't know. But are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to be introspective, to be able to see what is causing some issues? Are you willing? Because and I host this female sort of private circle in which we talk about and we meet about dating and some other things and different things like that. But as part of the group, I remember us having a conversation one week, and I stopped and said, listen, I said, we're focusing a lot on what the guys are doing or what the guys are not doing. What can we do to increase our happiness, and to increase our chances of going on more fulfilling dates. Because at some point, I've got to stop, and this is where the coach in me comes in. At some point, I've got to stop looking at somebody else. I've got to stop pointing the finger at someone else and saying, can you believe what they're doing? It is a choice whether or not I choose to associate with that behavior, whether I choose to affiliate that behavior, whether I choose to engage that behavior. So I can remain in my femininity, I can remain in my peace, I can remain with wisdom and stand and say, I just don't choose to engage that behavior with you. I see all the things, but I can choose. That's the beautiful asset, the beautiful thing that we have as mature women. It's the power of choice. I get what's going on though. I get, because some of us, it's time frame, because I have a strong audience of those. Excuse me. I don't know what it is about me sitting here and sneezing, but that happens more than what I would like. But I get it. I have a strong audience that's over that 45ish age range. I have a strong audience over that. The audience who looks like me, because I can understand, and I'm talking specifically to you. But I get it. Fear says you don't have as many choices. Fear says you don't have as much time. Am I talking to myself? Or am I coming to your street? Fear says, and if you even listen to this, you'll start to get information on how to get more dates. Fear says I may need to compromise. Fear says I cannot allow another year to go by being single. That's what fear says. Fear says this behavior is not ideal, but I will tolerate it because I don't know when I'll go on another date. It's better than to be in the presence of somebody than to just continue to be alone. That's fear. I'm not saying it. You remember I played a video earlier, and at the video, the moral of the story was, who should you give a second date? Which guys should you give a second date? And the moral of the story is, you don't give every guy a second date. You don't give every guy a third or fourth date. Maybe you give them a second or third date. But then when you start to see a pattern, when you are having conversations with them, hopefully we're not just going out and you're not talking to them, because you need a complete picture. So at some point, it's great to go out. But at some point, you need a complete picture. You need to hold a conversation. Well, he says he just doesn't like talking on the phone. We're too old. We're too mature. We've had too much of life behind us to say what he says. He doesn't like this. He says he just doesn't like to talk on the phone. Is that really true? Is that really true, friend? Do you think that's really true? No, you need a complete picture, and that complete picture is only gained by you having a conversation with him in addition to being around him. They work in tandem. I'm giving you some tips right now as we start, right? Giving you some tips before we even start. And especially for those of you, as I get ready to close on Facebook on that virtual space, we're talking this week on how to get more dates. I'm just laying the groundwork today and just talking through what is there. And listen, let me just say, it's painful. You know you're attractive. It's painful when you know you have reached a certain level of success. It's painful when you know that you have so much to offer to a wonderful gentleman, but day after day, you're still alone. Day after day, you go to bed alone. Day after day, You cook dinner for one day after day. I understand. But we're in a time and we're in a space right now where we cannot allow the emotional weight. We cannot allow the emotional weight of loneliness to help guide us in making wrong decisions. Your loneliness, your emotions, they're not going to help you during this time. You have to put on strong discernment. I'm seeing too many women who are even married to gentlemen who are willing to destroy, who are willing to take even their very lives. So it behooves you at this point to be cautious. It behooves you to take your time. And it behooves you, in some cases, to spend a few more nights by yourself. And not rush it. And not rush it. And I'm going to leave you with this question, Facebook. Had an interesting something happen to me. We're going out on a date because I go out on dates and I get asked out on dates. I'm not saying that braggadociously, but I'm saying that to say I can speak to it because there was a time I wasn't asked out on dates, and then I understand the difference of when I am being asked out on dates. There is a difference. I can help share part of my experience. Of course, everything is not going to work for everybody. Of course, there are some exceptions. Of course, you understand. There's some people who've met after a month and got married and they're still married 12, 15 years later. There are always exceptions. I'm saying generally speaking, but I trust you, your wisdom, and the God within you to help guide you. I'm always going to be talking in generalities, y'all. There will always be exceptions. And there will always be different experiences that people have. But I recently had, should I say this? But anyway, let's just say, what would you do? Or I was asked by a gentleman after a first date to go to his home. Hey, after we finish this, would you like to go and have some drinks? Now, me and this guy have known each other and we have history. But my question to you is, what do you think I did? I'm not even going to tell you the answer. I know it sounds cliche and you hear it a lot, but it's hard to trust after you get effed over a lot. I understand. Rob, I understand. Rob on TikTok he said it sounds cliche. He said, but it's hard to trust. It can be hard to trust after you get messed over so many times. That's a gentleman saying that. So in some cases, like I said, ladies, I'm asking you to take, my guys are going to be here. I know there are going to be some guys that join, but on TikTok, I certainly have a mix of men and women. And I'm asking you ladies to be honest with yourself and take an introspective look, because sometimes we have been guilty of using guys, using them as lunch dates. Not all the time, not everybody, but sometimes, that's the case. Well, I'm going out with him because I'm going to get this lunch. I don't care anything about him, but I'm going to get this lunch today. I'm going to go get this free meal. And then proceed to go and get a meal that you wouldn't even order off the menu. I mean, come on. Yeah, I can say, oh, well, it's a date. He asked me out on a date. Yeah, but come on, ladies. Come on. You may not ever see him again, or if you do, it'll be the next date. But what you're concerned about is getting a free meal. I mean, come on, ladies. Come on. So to answer the question, thank you for sharing that, Rob. That was very honest and very raw. And fortunately or unfortunately, either way you choose to look at it, you're in good company, Rob, because so many people have been messed over and many are struggling to believe, struggling to trust. After 20 years, I've thrown in the towel because of the very stuff you're talking about. Wow. Wow. After 20 years of being single, Red Hawk, So I've got another person on TikTok who said after 20 years, they've just thrown in the towel because of all the stuff that's going on with dating. What a sad state that we're in, that people would rather throw in the towel rather than believe in something so powerful as love. What a sad day that we're in. What a sad time. We're created for relationships. We're created for relationships. And there's some people who would just rather not even take the chance of finding the love of their life because of these very things. And had a gentleman tell me, I don't want to date or be in a relationship because I found too many married women, are not faithful to their vows. Now, part of me wants to say, sir, the married women couldn't be cheating without your help, or they could go on to the next gentleman, but it's also saying something about you too, because you're cheating with them. So what does that say about you? But I didn't say that, right? I didn't say that. But he's just like, seeing the fact that married women are so willing to cheat, I want no part of it. But now the other part of that story is, again, he's cheating too. They're not cheating alone. You are a party to this story as well. You're part of that travesty as well. They can't do it by themselves. You're doing it. You're helping them, friend. You're helping them. Sigh. Breathe. So there's a lot going on. I know this can be very challenging. I know it's a lot of hurt there. I know in some instances you don't want to open up your heart anymore because you have been hurt. Your heart has been stepped on. And I'm not asking you to do that. Here's the thing. I'm not asking you to do that with anyone. Let me clarify. See, that's why I say discern. That's why I say, and people don't like when I say this. That's why you go out dating multiple people does not imply you're sleeping with multiple people. You may go out to have lunch with your friend Sarah this week, and next week you've got your girl who's been your friend for a long time. Y'all haven't. I mean, it's been a pure friendship. She may say, "Hey, friend, hey, let's go get grab a bite to eat. I got you." Or your birthday's coming up. "Hey, friend, let me take you out." What are you going to say? Are you going to say no? I don't want to give the impression, that I'm doing whatever. I mean, what people think is irrelevant at this point. On your way to your person, what people think is irrelevant. All right? So that's another thing, how to get more dates. Not be concerned about what people say or what people think. That's another way to do that. All right? So I understand your hurt, friend. I really do. So I'm going to conclude the conversation here on Facebook. If you'd like to continue the conversation, I will jump right on with my friends on TikTok, because my friends on TikTok, we hang out. And I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. And what you'll see with me is I'm trying different time frames. So some of the time frames work, some don't. And oh, by the way, Facebook, let me make sure that I promote this for you and show you something that we have coming up. Let me pull it up really, really quickly. Do you have any questions for me? Do you have any questions for me? Any questions? While I'm waiting, because I'm getting ready to pull up something that we have coming up. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Let's see if I'm able to show it on my screen. All right. But we have something coming up in the Birmingham area called Mocha Meetups. And we're going to talk over a little coffee and just kind of hang out for the summer. Y'all know I love coffee spots. I love coffee spots. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do this, y'all. Trying to figure out how to do it. I got it. You got to work with me for just a minute. But I love coffee. And another thing that I want to do is support African American businesses. So in doing so, I am going to host a couple of meetups over the summer. Just have a good time. Just sit down, talk, get a cup of coffee early in the morning. And guess what? We go home. Simple as that, right? Really, it's that simple. All right. So that's on Facebook. You have to maneuver this computer to be able to, in my opinion, to be able to show you how to pull some things up. Let's see. There we go. Mocha meetups. Hey, TikTok. If you're in Birmingham, Mocha meetups in Birmingham, right? Saturday, June 27th. Now I could put the time on there. We're going to do 9 a.m. We're going to do 9 a.m. for Mocha meetups, right? Gives you time to come get you a cup of coffee and you can go on about the rest of your day. Rochelle's Cafe. And let me give you the location of Rochelle's Cafe for Birmingham. It is in the Cafe Rochelle's Coffee. It's located at 1641 Centerpoint Parkway. 1641 Centerpoint Parkway, Rochelle's Coffee. June 27th on a Saturday. We're going to just meet up. Guys, gals, come out. Let's talk. Let's meet. Let's sip and chill. Let's sip and chill. Talking about how to get more dates. All right. So that's our Mocha meetups. Hey, Facebook, I'll see you a little bit later. In fact, later as in later today, you'll see me today because, I always have something going here on this book. I'm always talking to you about something and encouraging you. Otherwise, though, I'll see you back tomorrow morning live at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Love y'all. And we're going to get into it tomorrow, how to get more dates. All right. I'll see you soon. Bye.